In June of 2024, I was replaying the games Transformers War for Cybertron, Transformers Fall of Cybertron, and because I felt like tormenting myself, I played a little Transformers Rise of the Darkspark 2. And around the same time, rumors of the cancellation of the upcoming game Transformers Reactivate due to the lack of and removal of its promotion were circulating. I really hope that game comes out, that'd be so cool. But whether it comes out or doesn't, at least the initial reveal of the game's development in their teaser trailer revealed at the 2022 Game Awards would bring my attention to Transformer fanworks, such as redesigns, which would lead to inspiring me to make my own Transformer redesigns, leading to me animating them, leading to me making this video about how I redesigned the Autobots, which you should totally check out too. And now it's time I talk about how I redesigned the Decepticons. Hi, my name is Joel Bolt Drawings, and I've been doing art and animation for a while, and most recently the subject of my animations have been my Transformer redesigns, which all start with making the redesigns in the first place. But how? Well, from a technical perspective, starting on my phone, I drew my redesigns on Ibis Paint X and animated them on Flip-A-Clip, usually in reference to existing Transformers scenes. Then, on my computer, for the animations that used 3D backgrounds, I edited out the blank backgrounds in each frame of the animations and exported them as a PNG sequence if necessary on Krita, and created the 3D backgrounds in Blender using textures I drew on Ibis Paint X. I would then place the PNG sequence in the 3D scene and use the camera to synchronize the sequence with the moving 3D background and export it as an MP4 file. Sometimes it's exported without the PNG sequence visible to only capture the moving background. Finally, on DaVinci Resolve, which is the video editing program I'm preparing this video on, in circumstances where I exported the background video without the sequence visible in the scene, I place the PNG sequence over the 3D background with the audio and export it as an MP4, MOV, or MKV video file. From a brainstorming perspective, which is covered a bit more in depth in the other video, I first considered a small roster to make redesigns for, because there are a lot of Transformers, so many so that I couldn't keep count. And some of you actually did reply some rough estimates to how many exist, at least in one continuity, on the last video. Moral of the story, it's a lot. So I selected my roster from the 2007 Transformers movie, which had 5 Autobots and 8 Decepticons. Some of you in the audience may have noticed I've only shown 6 redesigns for the Decepticons so far. That's because by the end of this video, I'm revealing the last 2 redesigns in the selected roster. I started with an important question in mind. What's the context of the redesigns? What in the redesigns would help communicate the context of where these characters reside? In my case, when designing them, what would they have if I were to create my own animated Transformers show, one animated in my style? I drew out these designs with a set of character design elements in mind. Shape theory, which uses familiar shapes to communicate character traits. Color theory, which uses colors to communicate contextual tone. And distinct features and proportions, which set characters apart visually with unique features specific to their traits. In this video, I'm going over the redesigns I did for the Decepticons, Megatron, Barricade, Starscream, Bone Crusher, Blackout, and Brawl. Then a separate segment going over both Frenzy and Scorponok. Before I get into their individual designs, for Transformers in the Decepticon faction, I gave them shared design elements outside of just the insignia, to give a subtle visual sense of them all belonging to the same team. When utilizing shape theory, I composed their bodies of shapes between squares and triangles to convey a more ambitious, aggressive, and threatening appearance. And these particular shapes were meant to resemble the ones used in the Decepticon insignia. I noticed this was similarly done for the Decepticons in the War for Cybertron games. When utilizing color theory, I tried sticking to colder and/or duller colors. When I mostly referred to the G1 colors of the original designs, I added a slight twist of only using colder variants of said color, such as turning plain red into reddish pink, to closer resemble the color purple in the Decepticon symbol than it would be to the Autobots' red. In circumstances where I didn't use colder variants of the G1 colors, I would instead use duller variants to emphasize their priority of blending in, instead of being easily identifiable at first glance, as their tactic is to disguise themselves from humans. In shorter terms, they choose to be less noticeable because their priority is in deception. The use of less bright, eye-catching color could be seen in Michael Bay's Transformers movies, where most of the Decepticons were mostly grayish darker colors, as the vehicles they chose were designed for combat, or they just blended in with regular vehicles. The change of the color palette is also shared with how some Decepticons were recolored in Transformers Animated, like Starscream, whose red was changed to a bit more pinkish. When thinking of distinct features, I took account of how the Decepticons would choose to portray themselves in front of humans, Autobots, and any other perceived enemy. Instead of being open to showing any form of non-verbal facial emotion, they instead obscure their face with their helmets, showing minimal facial features, or just outright have non-human animalistic facial features, all of which to elicit fear and portray their non-peaceful and violence-oriented nature. I also took account of different types of body shapes and proportions, where instead of being more humanoid like the Autobots, the physical morphology of the Decepticons would be mostly intimidating, monstrous, and animalistic. A strategic choice to optimize their efficiency in battle. Most have clawed hands. Those who fly take inspiration from flying creatures. More physical, brutish characters have bulkier proportions, body weight, and armor, and so on and so forth.
You betrayed your own kind. Lied. Deceiver is death. Sigas Netonde. Sigas Netonde. Let's go. Hurry.
Get up.
I can't. But thank you. I'll suck your brains. You need a bigger door.
The last two Decepticons on the roster were Minicons, and I'll be honest, I wasn't originally planning on making animations for them, let alone designs for them. But then I was like, what if I did? So I did. At least designs. When designing the Minicons, I designed them in reference to their symbiotic relationship with other Transformers.
Autobots, Decepticons, like little children, always fighting, making a mess out of the universe. Then I've got to clean it up. There is one way you survive. Tell me where he's hiding. Where is Optimus Prime? The trouble with loyalty to a cause is that the cause will always betray you. Where do you think you came from? You think you were born? No. You were built. And your creators want you back.
Hey, want to crash against him?
Shh! Go away!
You can't make me go away. I'm always here. I'm the dark side of the moon.
What? That's just nonsense.
That's just the facts, bruh.
You think there's one side of me that's always cloaked in shadow? That is simply not true.
Yes, it is.
How?
Because we're tidally locked.
You don't even know what that word means.
It means we're always facing only one side.
One side of what?
The Earth?
Listen, Titan. Maybe I'm smaller than you, but I can still crash into you and mess you up real bad. So, you get what I'm saying?
And there we have it. That's the thought process on how I redesigned the Decepticons. If you haven't seen it already, or want to see it again, there's a video where I covered how I redesigned the Autobots. I'll link it to the description of this video, and in the top right corner of the screen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did—